right, today we're diving into a disease that's been haunting humanity for, well, thousands of years. It's truly devastating. It disfigures, it disables, it can trap people in poverty. And yet, it's often kind of overlooked on the global stage. So let's get into it. We're talking about lymphatic filariasis, but you probably know it by its more common name, elephantiasis. And yeah, we really have to start right here. Just take a look at this image. This is so much more than just swelling. This is a chronic, incredibly painful condition that completely upends a person's life, how they work, their role in their community, everything. What you're seeing is the end result of a microscopic invasion.
The scale of this thing is it's staggering. The WHO estimates that about 120 million people are infected. Now, to try and wrap your head around that number, that's more than the entire population of the UK and Canada combined. It's just massive.
So, what exactly is this disease? I mean, to really get a grip on the fight against it, we've got to understand the enemy first, right?
Believe it or not, it all starts with a mosquito bite. But this isn't your average itchy bump. This bite delivers these microscopic thread-like worms right into a person's bloodstream. And these little worms are the culprits behind a whole cascade of just awful health problems. And the damage? Wow, it goes so much deeper than just the physical symptoms. I mean, of those 120 million people infected, a staggering 40 million are severely incapacitated, disfigured. This isn't just a health issue. It leads to this immense social stigma. People are literally shunned by their own communities. And of course, if you can't work, it traps your entire family in this brutal cycle of poverty. It's a disease that doesn't just attack the body, it attacks the very fabric of society. So how does a tiny little parasite cause all that devastation? I mean, socially, economically, all of it. Well, to figure that out, we have to follow its incredible and honestly pretty horrifying journey inside the human body. Okay, so you've got two main players here. On one side, you have the vector, the common mosquito. And on the other, you have the invader, this microscopic worm. The mosquito is like the getaway driver, but the worm is the one actually doing all the damage. And get this, about 90% of all cases are caused by this one specific type of worm, Wuchereria bancrofi. So, check out this life cycle. It works like this. A mosquito bites someone who's already infected and basically slurps up these tiny worms. Then, inside the mosquito, the worms grow up. They mature over a week or 3. And then that same mosquito bites another person and bam, it passes those mature worms right into their bloodstream. It is a frighteningly efficient system. So once they're inside a person, these worms make their way to the lymphatic system. And this is the truly wild part. They can live inside a person for 5 to 7 years. And the whole time, they're just mating and producing millions of new baby worms that then circulate in the blood, just waiting for the next mosquito to come by and pick them up. The cycle just keeps going. Okay, so you've got millions of these worms living and dying inside your body for years on end. How in the world does that lead to the kind of catastrophic physical damage that we see with elephantiasis? Okay, the easiest way to think about it is this. Your lymphatic system is kind of like your body's plumbing. It's the drainage network, right? It keeps all the fluid levels balanced, and it's a huge part of your immune system. Well, these adult worms, they basically set up camp right in the pipes and create a massive clog. And just like a clogged drain in your sink, the fluid can't go anywhere, so it starts to back up. That backup, that blockage, it's what causes this condition called lymphedema. And it just gets worse over time. In the early stages, maybe propping your leg up helps a bit. But pretty soon, that swelling becomes permanent. And then you get to the most severe stage, where the skin actually hardens and thickens. And that's what creates that look we associate with elephantiasis. And here's the really crucial part. This is irreversible damage. It permanently changes how a person can move, their ability to work, their entire life. But, beyond all the biology, there's this really profound human tragedy here. And a lot of it is driven by misinformation. This quote, it's from a healthcare worker in Uganda, and they're describing what one of their patients believed was the cause of his own illness. See, without a scientific explanation, people look for other answers, and they often turn to superstition. And that just makes the stigma so much worse. And this is the physical reality behind that quote. This man had suffered for years. He actually ended up losing part of his leg. But for him, you know what the most shocking part was? It wasn't the disease itself. It was finding out that it came from a mosquito.
not a curse, and that his family could actually be protected from it. Imagine that.
But look, this story isn't just about the suffering. It's also about this incredible global effort to fight back. So how do you even begin to fight a microscopic worm that's spread by a mosquito?
Well, first, you gotta find it. And the old way of doing that was a total nightmare. The worms only really circulate in your blood at night, so doctors would have to wake people up and take blood samples in the middle of the night. Can you imagine? But now we have these simple card tests, kind of like a rapid test that can spot the parasite anytime, anywhere. It's been an absolute game changer for tracking the disease.
The core of the global strategy is something called mass drug administration, or MDA for short. And the idea is actually pretty simple. You give a combination of antiparasitic drugs to everyone in an at-risk area once a year. Now, it doesn't kill the adult worms that are already there, but it wipes out all those little baby worms in the blood. And if they're gone, mosquitoes can't pick them up, and boom, you've broken the chain of transmission.
So this whole effort really got organized back in 2000. That's when the World Health Organization launched the global program to eliminate lymphatic filariasis. And the goal they set was incredibly ambitious. They wanted to stop the transmission of this disease worldwide by the year 2020.
So here we are, more than 2 decades later. Where do we stand in this unfinished battle?
The numbers are, well, they're just mind-blowing. Since this program started, over 7 billion doses of medicine have been delivered. 7 billion! In just 1 year, 2018, more than 500 million people got the treatment. I mean, this is genuinely one of the largest public health campaigns in human history. And you can see the results of that huge effort right here on this map. The countries you see in blue, that's where the disease has actually been eliminated as a public health problem. That is a huge, huge victory. The light green areas are where the fight is still going on, but those darker colors, mostly in sub-Saharan Africa and parts of Asia, that shows you exactly where this battle is still being fought, and fought hard. So, as you probably guessed from that map, that 2020 target, we missed it. And the reasons are probably familiar if you follow global health. It's a complex mix of things. Not enough funding, regional conflicts that make it impossible to get the drugs to people, and other tough health challenges that can really complicate treatment. But there is another potential tool on the horizon that could finish this fight for good, and that's a vaccine. Research shows that a preventative vaccine isn't just some fantasy. It is considered scientifically possible. In fact, scientists have already identified some really promising candidates for a vaccine. And that brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? We have the knowledge, we have the strategy, we have drugs that work. A vaccine, which would be the ultimate weapon against this thing, seems to be within our reach. So why? For a disease that affects so many of the world's most vulnerable people, why hasn't that final step been taken yet?